Good evening and welcome to Al Jazeera News. Tonight, our lead story on the 29th of November 2017 is the wildfires in California. We have 22 wildfires burning uncontrollably and still growing. More and more homes are under threat and scores of people have been evacuated throughout the state. In fact, a short time ago in Calistoga, the whole town was ordered to be evacuated. 5,300 people are on the move tonight. These fires have been raging all over California since last month. You may see some footage of these fires, don't be too disturbed. There are homes burning, cars, local businesses being burnt to the ground. Pure devastation. Whole neighbourhoods have been reduced to ash. In fact, 1,381,000 acres of land have been destroyed by at least 9,093 separate wildfires. Obviously, both humans and the environment have been devastated, including thousands of animals that have lost their habitat. The California Department of Forestry and Fire Protection have also given us data that includes the fact that 44 people have so far died and another 203 have been injured. This is a national emergency. The losses do not stop there. $9.4 billion have been lost in insured property. It is likely to take a number of years for our economy to recover, and of course domestically and socially this is a huge problem. This is the costliest wildfire on record. 1,300 structures have been burnt to the ground. AccuWeather has predicted that the total economic cost for California is going to mount to $180 billion. The environmental impact is also formidable. Thousands of trees have been burnt to the ground, burnt to ash, and many already endangered species have lost their habitat. We're going to cross now to Matt Gunham, who's live for us in Santa Rosa. Matt?
Tonight, firefighters on the front lines are pushed to the limit. They are nearly helpless against their enemy, the wind. These fires are burning faster than firefighters can literally run. I am here speaking with local firefighter John Mason, who has been battling the flames to protect others, knowing his own house has already burned to the ground. John, can you give us a first-hand account of what we're facing?
How can I describe this other than hell on earth? My job is to protect and serve others and fight back the devastating flames. All the while, my own home lies in ash. My wife and my kids are living in a local shelter. I have not slept for 22 hours as all hands are on deck. I am doing my best. But while these winds keep kicking up, it's like fighting an undefeated enemy.
I'm very, very sorry to hear this, John. Can you describe a little bit about what it's like to be so close to this catastrophe?
The flames were literally so close to my face. I cannot describe the heat as anything but like an oven. You see my eyebrows?
Yeah.
My eyebrows are singed. But still, I battle on for the people. My job is to protect those devastated families from further catastrophes. Mothers and children are crying in the streets. Homes are smouldering. Memories are literally burning away.
So, when did you become aware of the crisis? And how did the fire department intervene when they became aware? Take your time.
Well, it all started 5 days ago. It is wildfire season, so we're always on alert. We're always monitoring the weather, our forests, and how the local residents and camping community are using the recreational facilities. However, we started back burning a few months back to burn off undergrowth and wildfires, so they would have less chance of spreading and less fuel if they were to start. So it was all something that we've been doing for quite some time in preparation for this. We continued our education campaigns in schools, and local communities, and even the local media, just to tell them a little bit of how to avoid wildfires. But still, when we were put on alert and we asked people to clear their property and water down buildings, we ourselves have been trying to soak some potentially dangerous areas with water, as well as some controlled burn-offs of undergrowth vegetation.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Mason. Honestly, on behalf of the entire state of California, you, my friend, are a hero. We greatly, greatly appreciate your effort, your work, and God bless you and your family.
I'm just doing my job.
Thanks for that report, Matt. With me I have Mr. Steve Anders, Dr. Steve Anders. He's a climatologist, an expert in the field, and he's going to help us make sense of a lot of this. Welcome, Doctor.
Thank you very much. I'd be glad to help any way I can.
Okay, could you please describe why California is currently experiencing this catastrophe and why it seems to happen almost every other year?
Well, first off, this particular wildfire is because of the number of interrelated reasons, okay? So we have had an unseasonably hot weather this year, and this April through September has been warmest on record. Some of that we can attribute to global warming, some of that we can attribute to bad luck. This exacerbated the issue, and our current burning of fossil fuels has a lot to say for that. The Santa Ana winds are the number 2. This is coastal winds that blow every year at this time, and this year they happen to be blowing at about 100 kilometers per hour. So this picks up the flames and spreads them rather easily from forest to forest to forest. This has been finally compounded by number 3. There are lots of fuel available. Even though we are having our hottest summer ever in the last 10 years, we had an especially wet winter. An especially wet winter means we've had a lot more shrubbery, a lot more growth. After this wet winter, we had a drought. And within this drought, the shrubbery and growth got very brittle, very dry, and lit up just like that. So these 3 factors are why we're seeing this unfold.
Okay, well that all makes sense, but where did the flames originate?
Okay, well there's 2 major areas. One is a very natural thing, lightning. Lightning strikes forests in this region quite regularly, and when it's contained, it's actually quite good for the forest because it continues this idea of recycling the nutrition found in the trees. The old trees die, they help the new trees grow. However, in this particular case, it's a little bit more devious. We have a lot of outdoor recreation in California, and many times our locals are not as careful as they need to be with fire, and many times it's caused by locals not being careful with...
The local Californian population has caused their own catastrophe.
Yeah, absolutely. Sadly, I gotta say, Smokey the Bear is correct when he says only you can put out forest fires. Fire safety is everyone's responsibility.
Okay, well then, Doctor, can you tell us about any modern scientific innovations that the local authorities have been able to use to deal with the wildfire?
Now, first and foremost, these are massive fires. So even though we have these innovations, there is still a lot to consider here and a lot for science to undertake. But first and foremost, we have California being a very rich state and a very rich country like the United States. So we do have a lot of resources at hand. One of the most exciting things we have is satellite imagery. In fact, we're currently working with a program called the Numerical Terradynamic Simulation Group, and they use massive high-powered satellites to conduct thermal imaging of local fires, okay? And even before the fires, they can check the thermal rates of trees and gauge their rate of photosynthesis. The higher the photosynthesis, the more healthy the tree, the less likely it is to burn. Unhealthy trees tend to be trees without water, and their rate of photosynthesis is low. So we can target and key areas that could catch fire. However, let's say we're past that point and a fire has started. Well, we can also use thermal sensing imagery from these satellites to find the key most hot spots that need to be attacked first. Now, What is really great is when we get there, we can use flame retardants. This is a series of chemicals that we bring together to cause a reaction or a cooling effect that allows the flames to stop spreading. This is new technology of the satellite, and it's just begun use. And for these current fires, we are now past this. We have to use aerial flame retardation, which means that the planes, they fly over and they drop the flame retardant over top. It is effective, but we also have ground level firefighters at the scene as well.
Okay, fascinating stuff. But even with all this newfound scientific technology, wildfires continue to happen. Every decade we get them. So what is the greatest factor science faces to stop these long-term in California?
Well, like I said before, there's a lot of factors, but factor number one is simply the environment, okay? You have loads and loads of forest, shrubbery, it's always dry in California. Global warming isn't going anywhere. So each year it's going to get drier and more prone to catching fire. Now, 100 years ago, these fires were good, but they're no longer good because of the increase in climate is causing their regularity to go up immensely. I will also say that, you know, we have the Rocky Mountains right around the corner, and this blocks in and traps these cross Santa Rosa winds, and it makes them powerful. And once these fires start, the winds pick them up and they spread it. So I can't see this going away anytime soon. I can't stress more than anything the importance of fire safety and not beginning these fires, because ultimately the environment's going to be there and it's going to be a major factor, and science can only go so far in this situation.
Okay, well, Dr. Anders, thank you for your time. It's been a pleasure, and let's hope we can get through this.
Thank you very much. It's been more than a pleasure for me.
Now I've been joined by Susan Chambers from the American Red Cross.
Happy to be here.
Yes,
Yeah.
and Mr. Matt Wilcox, who's the mayor from San Bernardino County, which was affected by wildfires in 2007, and he's got some first-hand experience of what the people of his city did. We might start with you, Mayor. First of all, you have first-hand experience. Can you describe what it's like for the city, and more importantly, how does the city prepare themselves for what could happen with wildfire?
I would love to. First of all, you must know your risk factors. Wildfires can occur anywhere and can destroy homes, businesses, infrastructure, natural resources, and agriculture. We in San Bernardino offer people basic information on how to prepare for a wildfire. We direct our people to our website, which is www.ready.gov/wildfires, to access free pamphlets on how to prepare for the fire and to assess the risk factors. Locals should familiarize themselves with local emergency plans, know where to go and how to get there should you need to evacuate. Make a wildfire emergency plan, including a plan on how to evacuate, and maybe a communication plan too. That would be really helpful. Our community has text and email alerting systems for emergency notifications. To find out what alerts are available in your area, all you have to do is search the internet with your town, city or county name and the word alerts. Build or restock your emergency preparations kit, including a flashlight, batteries, cash and first aid supplies. Stay tuned to your phone alerts, TV or radio for weather updates, emergency instructions or evacuation orders.
Wow, that's quite the list. You couldn't do any more, surely.
I'm not finished just yet.
Ooh.
Finally, prepare your home. Create an area 30 feet around your home that will have nothing flammable in it. This could stop the flames significantly. Clean roofs and gutters. This type of thing that bunches up and can catch fire quickly. Of course, the real work is how we deal with the aftermath. We have a massive cleanup to undertake and the cost will be enormous. The federal government in Washington and insurance companies will obviously support us, not to just rebuild homes, but also the reconstruction of infrastructure. After roads are cleared of debris, we can start to transport skilled workers to hotspots to ensure communities have access to electricity and water supplies. Internationally, NGOs have offered support, and foreign governments have offered to provide more firefighters, equipment and financial support. This financial support is not just for the current crisis of fighting the fires and supporting people in need with shelter, food and medicines, but also for the cleanup and rebuilding of the community that will follow.
Well, thankfully, we've got Ms. Chambers from the Red Cross who can fill us in on what you guys can do to help us out.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. First of all, the aftermath can be devastating. Complete loss of homes, environmental devastation. They're usually the results of wildfires. Thousands of people can be displaced and taken out of their homes, having to evacuate. And people have to seek counseling to not only deal with the loss of their memories, their photos, their home videos, but also the lives of loved ones. So the pieces don't get back together overnight. It can take years or decades for many communities to bounce back. So we at the Red Cross take this very seriously, and we've already begun working with local communities to begin the process of rebuilding in California.
Okay, can you take us through that rebuilding? What's going to be addressed of such a massive amount of devastation? What are you going to start with?
Absolutely. People immediately need shelter. So food, they also need food and emergency relief supplies, and we at the Red Cross do our best to provide these for those directly impacted. Dozens of emergency response vehicles are distributed and with hot meals and relief supplies to people in need, so medical supplies and hot food. The Red Cross disaster workers are also providing health services such as replacing lost medications and eyeglasses, emotional support, so counseling and spiritual care. Local volunteers are handing out wildfire relief kits, including rakes, shovels, masks, gloves, garbage bags, sifters, eye drops, because a lot of the ashes get in your eyes, and sanitary wipes. So the Red Cross is working with a large team of partners to help residents move through the recovery process by connecting them to critical services and resources they need to get back on their feet. So Red Cross caseworkers, we have people that are on the ground meeting one-on-one with people, providing them an opportunity to share their needs and to ask questions. And then for some, if they qualify, they'll get financial assistance as well.
This is a huge undertaking, yes?
Yes, yeah, well, we're not alone in our efforts. The California Child Care Resource and Referral Network is helping local members start the recovery process and coordinating with state and federal resources to support parents and providers. And then the California volunteers are mobilizing around those who have evacuated the fire areas and around animal needs. So these are just a few of the NGOs helping with this disaster. There are many, many more people.
Well, I want to thank you both for coming in. This has been very informative. We at Al Jazeera News would like to thank you for educating us about all of your efforts and what needs to be done for us to help the people of California and the environment. And you, the viewer, no doubt, if you keep your ear to the ground, there'll be places for you to donate, not just money, but other clothes and resources that will be required over the next few days. Look, after the break, we'll have a look at the latest news from Russia.